What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. We're focusing on the Pittsburgh Penguins bringing in Sidney Crosby's former teammate at Shattuck St. Mary, Jack Johnson, on a 5-year deal that'll pay him on average of $3.25 million. My first question to Jim Rutherford is, what the fuck? Straight up. Jack Johnson, I loved, like, his sophomore year at Michigan was the year I really started to love college hockey, and he was a beast. But since then, not a whole lot to write home about. 21 points in 23 career playoff games. I know that's going to get beaten into the ground. Played with Crosby at Shattuck. I can't wait for the fucking first time the two of them pair up on a goal, and Pierre's like, oh yeah, teammates at Shattuck St. Mary. Like, Pierre, kiss my ass. But I don't... his career high in points is 42. He had 40 a couple years ago. Isn't great defensively. Advanced analytics show that he sucks. His regular stats show that he is not a great NHL player, even he's a marginal National Hockey League defenseman that, because he was a third pick in the draft, because he played in Michigan, because of all this other shit, he's just, everyone's up his ass, so how great he is, and it's like, no, he's good. It's not great. Kings won the Cup after they traded him. People like to forget that fact. And, you can say, oh, well, Columbus, he played 11 playoff games with the Columbus Blue Jackets. 9 points in those 11 games, I might add, but 9 points, 11 games nonetheless. And it's just like one of those situations. I get, I was talking to someone about this the other day. Tavares getting $11 million, Crosby makes 8.7, so Crosby and Jack Johnson combined make $1 million more than Tavares. So it's like, all right, maybe kind of look the other way on it. But I am shaking my head at this. I'm not. They have a lot of high-end talent in Pittsburgh, and I think $5 million can be used, or $3.25 million, excuse me. $5 million would have had. It's been a long day. It's been a long free agency period. There's better ways to use that money. And the fact that I honestly believe that another team would have paid him more. Because, again, he gets by on his name cachet, and you're like, you can't tell me that John Moore, or even like Nick Holden, goes to Bruins past and future, wouldn't have been better fits on the Pittsburgh blue line than Johnson. The only thing he has going for him, like I said, is Crosby probably wanted to play with him because they played at Shattuck together, and Crosby wanted help with one of his boys. Beyond that, I'm really perplexed. That's how this contract works. And then the aside back and forth between Johnson and Jimmy Rutherford versus John Tortorella was just the feud I didn't know I needed, that nobody asked for, that we got. And they both sides came out looking like assholes. I mean, Tortorella, we all can agree, overrated head coach. Congratulations on winning a cup with Tampa 14 years ago, before the went back and clutch and grab him was still not only allowed but encouraged. And you're Torts is a cartoon character. He's a loudmouth. Look at me, look at me. So it's a shame on Johnson or Rutherford for giving him the bait, but it's one of those things. But it goes without saying, I do not like this contract. By the way, speaking of useless NHL players, the Pittsburgh Penguins signed our man Jimmy Hayes to a two-way deal, so they could realistically have two overpaid carcasses out there in the form of Jack Johnson and Mr. Hayes. Anyway, that's all I got. Episode of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for episodes for the off season and beyond. Later, guys.